Hi, this is Ned at Wild Heart Ranch. This is Wild Bytes. This is July, let's see, 4th, but it will be airing on the 6th, Sunday. Today is story time. The theme of today's Wild Bytes is you don't know what you don't know. And it's about animals that have come here with disabilities because of good intentions. People have gone on the internet, done research to find out how to care for animals they've rescued, but they didn't get all the information, and the animals have had a disability over it. First one I'm going to show you is a success story. This little sparrow came in without the use of his legs. He was getting in his feathers, and he's doing really good now. As you can see, he's going to fly. But I want to show you that his legs are now working. We've got a wonky foot. There, he's standing. When we got him, he couldn't stand at all. The right foot was a little bit mangled. It's still a little bit twisted. We may have to work on that later, but we do have our legs. The reason he didn't have useful legs is because he didn't have any calcium. And we use, all the people that are watching that send us eggshell, this is what we use it for. We put it in our bird formula, and we beef these guys up in calcium. The calcium, which is eggshell, which is the most natural form of calcium for a bird because their body produces it, therefore it's going to be the most absorbable. The calcium helps their feathers grow and their bones grow without taking the calcium out of their bones to grow their feathers. They're going to grow their feathers. So what happened to this guy, his feathers grew. They weren't exactly right, and they might be a little bit weak, but so far we're looking good. But his legs stopped working, okay? It's a form of metabolic bone disease, which is lack of calcium. We have put him on our diet. He has gotten plenty, and he has absorbed it, and it's now working. His legs are working. So this is one little guy that's a success story. He will be releasable, and his life will go on as if nothing happened. Had they waited another week to get him to me, it might not have been reversible. So as soon as they saw there was a problem, they called us, which is perfectly legal to raise a sparrow. So it wasn't, no laws were being broken. It's just they didn't realize that he needed calcium. On to the next story. Our next story is about a squirrel. Now, we were imprinted, and we've had her for a while, and we're getting over it. So I'm going to show her to you this way. She's got her face in the formula bowl. Now, this is an example of a squirrel that was raised alone and was released alone and went on to starve. Now, the squirrel was imprinted and friendly when she first came in. We've put her in with two other squirrels that are completely wild, and she has now picked up their characteristics of behavior, which is to avoid people and hide. See her? She's strong now, but when she came in, she's in there with two gracious. She's aggressive. That's fantastic. Having a squirrel that is a tame pet and you could hold it, you know, when it comes in, to become like that. The reason why she is now behaving like a wild squirrel is because I put her in with two other wild squirrels. Now, the other ones are not out of the wild. They are our hand-raised babies, but we raise them in groups and we don't handle them, so they don't want anything to do with us. So, well-meaning person raised the squirrel, released the squirrel. The squirrel was unable to survive on its own, and it was imprinted. So, when it came in, we were in poor condition, we were dehydrated. The squirrel should have been able to go and do its thing, but either it could not find food, it was not released in an appropriate environment, or it was so imprinted that it just hung around waiting for the people to let it back in. Not sure, but she was in real poor shape. But she's better now, and she will release with ours, so happy ending for that squirrel. On to the next story. This is our last story of the day. This is a Canada gosling. It's a very young goose. Should this goose be talking to me? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, this is something we never want to see, which is a tame wild animal. This goose has got two problems. One, it's tame. The other, it's got angel wing. Angel wing is a calcium deficiency. This bird was found by someone, raised without enough calcium for her feathers and bones to develop properly. Then she was released on Claremore Lake. Good intentions, well-meaning person. Maybe they do or don't know that they committed a felony when they raised this goose. But that's the short-term problem. The long-term problem is this goose's right wing has angel wing. It is a permanent birth defect. See the wing? It's the end of the wing is actually twisted so that her wing does not lay flat. I actually had to cut her feathers because the weight of her feathers will pull on that joint and cause her arthritic pain her whole life. So because they did not give this bird enough calcium and they, released her like this, she's now with us for the rest of her life. I mean, I can't release her and then go and catch her and trim her feathers twice a year, which is what's going to have to happen. So she's here and she's disabled. If you find a wild bird, don't try to raise it yourself. Get it to a wildlife rehabilitator that knows what to do. This is not something that can be fixed. And she's tame, which is a problem because she wants to be with people. She stands in front of our door. She poops, gargantuous size poop, all in front of the door. The flies come land on the poop. We open the door to the clinic. The flies come in the clinic, and then we have to kill flies. You can't have flies around animals, so because then you end up with maggots. So she's a huge problem, but it's not her fault. She's a victim. Well-meaning person, good intentions. This is the result. So, you know, if you find these animals, get them to a wildlife rehabilitator. When you find them, don't try to do it yourself. Chances are something like this will happen, and it's not her fault, it's not my fault, but her and I got to pay the price for it. So anyway, a bit of advice: you don't know what you don't know. And I don't know everything, but I know more than your average Google about wildlife. So have a great day. Thanks for following.